You've been lied to and you bought it. Everything you believe about freedom, it's a joke. You think because you see through the government, the media, and the culture that you're different. You think because you make money, hit the gym, and reject mainstream narratives that you're ahead of the game. You're not. Because here's the truth you don't want to admit. Most men who escape the matrix never actually leave it. They just find a new master. They don't break free. They just switch chains. They reject one lie and replace it with another. They think they're in control, but they're still puppets. To lust, to money, to ego, to their own desires. And the worst part? They don't even see it. So let me ask you something. If you lost everything tomorrow, who would you be? Because if your entire identity is built on things that can be taken from you, you were never free. You were owned. The Matrix wants you to think you're free. The first layer of control is easy to recognize. Governments, corporations, media, and education, all designed to keep people weak, distracted, and obedient. Most people never question it. They follow orders, live predictable lives, and die without ever thinking for themselves. But then there's the second layer, the illusion of freedom. This is the trap most men fall into. They reject the mainstream narrative. They see the corruption. They call out the lies, but they never actually escape. Because instead of breaking free, they just replace one form of slavery with another. Some escape the lies of the system, only to become slaves to lust, living for women, chasing pleasure, controlled by their own urges. Some reject authority, but become obsessed with money, thinking that wealth alone will make them free, but instead, it owns them. Some stop following the crowd, yet still build their identity on status, power, and validation. Trading one master for another, they don't realize they're still controlled. The leash is just longer. And that's why the system doesn't care if people wake up. It doesn't care if you expose corruption. It doesn't care if you call out society. As long as men never stop serving their desires, the chains stay on. Think about it. You can talk about Buddha, how to be enlightened, how to find inner peace. No backlash. You can share teachings from Allah, and they'll preach respect all religions. You can embrace New Age spirituality, call yourself a god, manifest your desires, and people will applaud your higher consciousness. But the moment you bring up Jesus, the world loses its mind. They attack, they mock, they call you hateful, intolerant, and dangerous. Why? Because every false god feeds the system, but Jesus destroys it. Buddha tells you to find peace within yourself. New Age tells you to believe in your own power. Islam commands obedience to religious law. But Jesus tells you the truth. He tells you there is only one way, and it's not through yourself. It's through Him. He exposes sin for what it is, and the world hates Him for it. The world screams, "Yourself, yourself, yourself." Jesus says, "Deny yourself." The system tells you to chase your desires. Jesus says, "Pick up your cross." They tell you to serve yourself. Jesus tells you to serve something greater. That's why His name is censored. That's why His followers are mocked. That's why the system fears Him more than any other belief. Because if a man follows Jesus, he stops being a slave. The Matrix offers you a cheap version of everything Jesus said. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And what does the system do? It counterfeits every part of it. Instead of the way, it gives you distractions, money, women, fame, anything to keep you focused on this life, but never the next. Instead of the truth, it feeds you lies. Do whatever makes you happy. Morality is outdated. Truth is whatever you want it to be. Instead of life, it keeps you chasing dopamine, addictions, entertainment, empty pleasure, just enough to keep you numb but never fulfilled. The world doesn't want you thinking about eternity. It wants you focused on your next paycheck, your next thrill, your next achievement. Anything but the fact that one day, all of it will be gone. And yet, They call this freedom. They tell you you're in control. They tell you you're making your own choices. But in reality, you're just another pawn, marching exactly where they want you to go. The system wants nothing to do with Jesus, because if a man follows him, he stops being predictable. He stops being controlled. He becomes untouchable. You're always a slave. Choose your master. Here's what most men refuse to accept. There is no such thing as complete freedom. You are always serving something. The only question is, who owns you? Look at your life. Right now, some are owned by lust. They think they're players, but deep down, they're just slaves to their urges, chasing women, swiping endlessly, controlled by their own biology like an animal on a leash. Some are owned by money. They tell themselves they're hustlers, but in reality, their wealth owns them. Their entire worth is tied to their bank account, and no matter how much they get, it's never enough. Some are owned by ego. They walk around acting superior but take away their status, their followers, their reputation, and their nothing. And that's exactly how the system designed it. Because as long as a man is controlled by anything in this world, he's weak. He's easy to sell to, easy to distract, easy to keep chasing things that will never make him free. The system doesn't just tolerate weak men, it mass produces them. Because a man who is addicted spends. A man who is insecure obeys. A man who is lost follows. And as long as he never asks who he's really serving, the cycle continues. And here's the part nobody wants to talk about. What happens when your master no longer needs you? When she leaves? When your money runs dry? When no one cares about you anymore? Then what? That's when most men realize they were never free. They just never stop to ask what happens when their master lets them go. And most, they won't survive it, because the world never taught them how. Escaping the matrix isn't enough. You have to kill the old you. Seeing the truth isn't enough. You can't just wake up, you have to transform. The system built the old you. It trained your desires, shaped your habits, and fed your weaknesses. So if you want to be truly free, you can't just reject the matrix. You have to rebuild yourself from the ground up. And Jesus made it clear, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. This is the path. This is how you kill the old you and become the man you were meant to be. Starve the system. Do not love the world or anything in the world. The world runs on your distractions. Kill them. Stop feeding addictions. Stop chasing cheap pleasure. Stop letting dopamine control you. The less you rely on what they offer, the less power they have over you. Master discipline. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Weak men follow impulses. Strong men follow principles. Control your mind, your habits, your time. When you master discipline, nothing can enslave you. Detach from validation. Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. The system controls men through approval. Break free. If you need people to applaud you, if you need status to feel like a man, you're still in chains. A free man does what is right, not what is popular. Face pain without running. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Comfort keeps men weak. Pain builds warriors. Stop escaping hardship. Face it. Endure it. Let it forge you. The men who come out strongest are the ones who never run. Submit to something greater. Jesus said, "Whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." This is where most men fail, because the system has trained them to believe they are their own gods. The world tells men, live for yourself, chase your own happiness, be your own king. But where does that lead? To a life where they're always chasing, consuming, struggling, never fulfilled, because a man who serves himself is still a slave, just to his own emptiness. That's why true freedom is only found in surrender, not to the world, not to yourself, but to the one who made you. Until you let go of pride and submit to something beyond yourself, you will always be chasing a life that never satisfies. This is the path. Most men will never take it, because it's easier to stay the same, easier to keep distractions, addictions, comfort, easier to live with a weak version of yourself than to become someone greater. But those who walk this path, they don't just leave the matrix, they become unstoppable. Final question, are you really free? Most men never wake up. They live, they die, and never question a thing. Some men wake up halfway. They see the lies, they recognize the deception, but they never take the next step. They get stuck chasing money, stuck chasing pleasure, stuck chasing a version of freedom that still isn't real. And then there are the few, not the strongest, not the smartest, not the wealthiest, just the ones who had the courage to choose, the ones who stop making excuses, the ones who refuse to be controlled, the ones who don't just see the truth, they follow it. So I'll ask you again, are you free or just another slave who thinks he is? Because if you stop at waking up, you're still asleep. The Matrix doesn't care if you see it. It only cares if you stay trapped in it. So what will you do? Stay where you are or break free? Because the door is open, but you have to walk through it. And if you don't, then understand this. A man who refuses to choose has already chosen. Now if this hit you, like, subscribe and hit the bell, because the truth doesn't stop here.